Now, ladies and gentlemen, with CSGO's player count rapidly growing and rapidly rising at a very fast rate, so does the demand for CSGO items. That doesn't matter if it's cases, stickers, sticker capsules, and of course, CSGO skins. But most importantly, cases right now have been the very huge talking point of YouTube and just everyone on the internet, revolving around CSGO. Cases recently have doubled or tripled, some up in value. And especially some of the lower tier cases that we talked about months prior, they have somewhat tripled or quadrupled up in price from where they were just a few months ago. And well, that's what I want to discuss in today's video with the CSGO investing case guide, but also give you some disclaimers as well. And also on top of that, some of my experience with investing into some hypes like this, investing in this time of the year. Also, I'm going to give you some case categories with the case tiers and rank those cases in those specific tiers. And well, before we do so and hop into today's commentary and overview about cases right now on the market, if you guys haven't already and are new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button and of course subscribe. And here's a quick word from our video sponsor, Skins Monkey. Now today's video sponsor is of course Skins Monkey. Now if you guys are unfamiliar with what Skins Monkey is, they are currently the biggest growing Counter-Strike Global Offensive trading marketplace for skins, which is absolutely amazing with great fees as well. Let's just say you guys have some skins you're really not feeling anymore. Skins Monkey is the best way to trade them. In this trade, to be exact, I actually profited 18 cents, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but considering it's a trading website, it's actually very, very good. Sign up today to get up to a $5 bonus, which is very nice. And if you've never used the website before, well, you can use my code MANDO, go up to the top right, you claim that bonus. And if you guys want to deposit with real life cash or crypto, you get a 25% deposit bonus, which is very, very nice. So a CSGO case investing guide. You guys asked, you will receive. So I have to give you guys a quick PSA and disclaimer here. The market is extremely high right now. Hypes are a thing, sure, but 2 years in a row, I've seen people get burned exponentially on stuff like this, including myself. I've been one to buy and do hypes like this during 2020, 2022, even in years prior when there was like a miniature summer hype when CSGO skins were going up a lot. Sometimes I didn't know what was going on and I was buying into these very large prices. And right now, I think people are doing the exact same thing. Maybe some people haven't realized that CSGO skins, CSGO cases mainly, have gone up so much in a very short period of time. Maybe they're coming to the CSGO scene and they're like, oh, that's the average price for some of these. When realistically, it's a quarter or half of what the price it usually is when the market comes down, when CSGO player count numbers go down as well. And with investing and buying and selling, I feel like no one ever talks about profit and actually selling at the end of the day. And something people need to get reminded of is you don't profit unless you sell anything. And right now, for the most part, if you invested in early November of 2021 or maybe even early 2022, you're in extreme profits right now, especially if you invested in something like the clutch case, the revolver case, the chroma 3 case, things like that, or even some skins in the market. They're up quite a bit. Even with all the rumors revolving around Source 2 most likely coming out, that will rise player count and player numbers even more, but obviously that's not guaranteed 100% official at this point. And in my opinion, with years prior and experience in this stuff, sometimes, especially if it's some of the lower tier cases that have gone up so much, or an item just in general that has gone up so much in a very short period of time, sometimes it's not waiting the extra couple of months for a chance at a 2 times what it currently is. Let's just say the Danger Zone case, 17 cents. If the hype keeps going, CSGO players keep coming to the game, we get more players, people like unboxing stuff, maybe your hopes that will go to 40 cents for an example. I highly doubt that. And most likely what happens, and most of the time what happens in a situation like that, is a case like that will go down to a quarter or half of what you really thought it was going to, or what it is currently at this point in time. So with you knowing the risks versus the rewards at this point, let's hop right into it. But let's start off and hop right into the case tiers. I'm going to call this cheaper than dirt. And this, if this sounds familiar, well, I made a video about 6 months ago on this exact situation. And the cases actually have changed up quite a bit. They have moved categories a lot. So you're going to see some cases that were in the cheaper than dirt now in the high or too high price. For the cheaper than dirt, I have the Danger Zone, the Prisma, Horizon, Fracture, and CS20 case. Now, when the market starts to calm down, you will most likely see a quarter or half of what the price is right now on a lot of these things. So when the market dies down, I think we're going to see the Danger Zone case at 10 to 12 cents. I think we're going to see the Prisma 2 at around the same price, maybe a little lower. The CS20 case has been going up slowly but surely as it is pumped by fellow YouTubers. Hopefully it's going to hit $1 one day, as some people do suspect, but of course only time will tell on that. I can relate the Danger Zone, Prisma, and CS20 case, maybe even some of the Horizon stuff, and the cheaper cases inside of CS and some of the newer ones, they're a very long-term hold, and that's something you have to kind of look at before going into CSGO investing in some of the cheaper ones and higher tier ones. And with investing into cases, you either have to give up one or two things, time or money. So if you're investing into lower tier cases inside of CS, obviously the goal of that is you're gonna be able to buy a lot more for a very slow price. The only problem with that is the majority of time, if we look at years prior, you've had to wait a very long time to profit on that. That's a decent percentage anyway. Because how I look at most of the time, if I spend a little more money, go with a higher buy-in, I don't have to wait that long, especially if I go in a very higher tier case like a Breakout, Broken Fang, Glove case situation, or even Gamma or Spectrum. The money you'd make on those in 2 months rather than sitting on some of the Danger Zone cases in the cheaper than dirt category for 2 years, you'd make almost the exact same amount of money or sometimes a little more. Now, that's not always the case, but that's how I've seen it recently. And some of those numbers with months and whatnot have been exaggerated, obviously. But I think most of you understand where I'm coming from. So the cheaper than dirt category definitely has potential. I mean, you've already seen it with some of these with the hype. I think with the player numbers increasing, they're definitely just going to keep getting opened more. If you're going for the very long-term hold for CSGO, if you're going to hold for 3 or 4 or even 5 years, you can go in right now. That's when I would recommend it for some people. There's not really a whole lot of risk right now going in, if you're especially going in for the 5-year mark. And of course, next up, we have the mid category, which is Wildfire, Revolver, and Clutch case. Now, these three I've personally bought quite a bit of. The Wildfire, not so much. I've been a little on the fence about it. Obviously, it is almost pushing 60 cents with the AK fuel injector, which is a very good looking skin, which this is probably a big part of the reason why this case is rising so much up, because also this skin is super expensive. It's also a very good looking skin. And I can kind of relate this something to the Broken Fang case where it has the print stream. That was a main driving factor of why that case was going up in a very short period of time. Obviously, this case hasn't risen up so much in a very short period of time, but in the past couple of years, it definitely has taken off a little bit. The Revolver, right now, that's becoming a mid-tier case, when 6 months ago, that was a cheaper than dirt case. The reason it might not even go to high next year is because obviously it has older knives in it. And when you're looking for an investment in CSGO, especially with cases and capsules, mainly cases, if they're skins people actually enjoy and not just made up stuff where, oh, this is a really good looking skin and then 6 months later no one cares about it, then it will most likely go up. And especially the golds. The golds have a very big factor into a case. I mean, there's a reason why the Breakout case is so expensive, and same with the Glove case, same with the Spectrum and also Gamma cases. That's a huge reason those cases are going up so much in a very short period of time as well. Even the Chroma 3. So those are things you're going to want to look out for when investing into a case just in general. And of course, we have the high category and one more after that, but the high category is the Chroma 1, 2, and 3, Phoenix, Gamma, Spectrum, Glove, Breakout, and of course Shattered Web, which I'm kind of on the fence about. Shattered Web is looking good, but it's going to take a lot longer, I think, than a lot of these other cases. Now, if you go into the high category, you definitely have some more room to grow. And there's also going to be parts in the year where you're going to be able to profit tremendously out of some of these. There's going to be some days like I had a couple years ago and even last year at the end of 2021, where the Glove case, for an example, was literally able to be flipped on a daily basis for a few weeks at a time, which actually was really, really nice. So this thing would go from 99 cents up to $2, sometimes $2.50, would keep going back down, back and forth, and you were able to flip that, quick flip it on a daily basis, which is very, very fun. Obviously, with the quantity diminishing on something like that, it's going to be harder as days go on. And as we go into the high category here, I'll explain why quantity and whatnot with trading is kind of hard a little bit. So the too high expensive category for investing into cases and just cases in general, I have written down specifically, do not buy these in bulk. And that, of course, is the Bravo case, Hydra case, and the cases that are just super expensive in general. The demand isn't huge on these items, and they're not really liquidated because they're not very cheap compared to some of the really cheap cases in the game. And even if you bought up the entire supply of these on the Steam market, for an example, like the Hydra case, you wouldn't be able to set whatever price you want for these because people, I think, just simply would not pay for them, or they'd just go very, very slow. People just don't really work like that with items like that. So right now, if I was in people's situations who were asking me what they should go into, me personally, I would definitely want to split up some different investments that I'd have in CS, in cases and other things as well, but let's just talk about cases. I definitely maybe go into some of the cheaper than dirt category if I'm wanting to hold for up to 4 years. Now, this is a very long-term thing. Some people won't even be playing CS in 4 years, which is kind of crazy to think about. But you're gonna have to put these in a storage unit and literally just forget about them. Some of them, you might be able to just get a quick flip out of them, which sure, that is possible, but is that gonna happen? Most likely not. There could be some instances, for an example, where you see right now with some of the cases like the Danger Zone 3 or 4 months ago, you could have bought it 3 or 4 cents. Now almost a 20, that could be a good indicator to sell. And then of course, when the market goes back down, you rebuy. But the problem with that is, and the problem that I have, you can quick flip small cases, no problem. Sure, if you want to make that profit, you can, but selling 1,000 or more is a real pain in my ass. And it's not something I really just tend to bother with. Maybe it's something you might want to bother with, but the confirmations are just not something I like to deal with. That's why I usually go into higher cases as well. Just another reason why. And then the clutch case right now is still in the active duty drop pool, but I believe it's still getting open quite a bit, so the demand is still there. And I believe it also might be the next case that gets removed, but only time will tell on that. So I wouldn't go too heavy in that, but I would maybe buy a few, especially if you're going for the long-term hold. Really anything in the higher tier category as well, you can buy right now, especially if you're holding for the long term. That's what I would suggest most people to do if you're going in right now. Don't buy high and sell low. Don't be one of those guys. The revolver definitely has some potential. The wildfire definitely has potential. Obviously, it's going to grow a lot slower than I believe the revolver and the rest of the cases will. The chroma cases are literal gold mines right now, I think personally. The Chroma 3 is rising so much in a very short period of time, which is a good and bad thing, but the demand is clearly there for it. The skins no one cares about, it's mainly the golds, same with the revolver case. The Phoenix case isn't bad either. Obviously has the Op Asimov, but the problem with that is it hasn't risen very much since January. It's been very unsteady. It's only risen like 20 cents. And the demand in a case like that, obviously just for a skin like the Op Asimov, isn't really that much. But I think I'd recommend the Spectrum and Gamma cases as well at this point in time if you're going to hold for the long term. And now for the short term, if that's what you're kind of going for, you would have to, I think, pretty much go into the higher tier cases. And what might I mean by that? If you want to get out of CSGO investing within the next 4 or 5 months, if you go into the short term ones, and let's just say Source 2, for an example, doesn't come out, or there's not a huge update in the next little while, or let's just say there's an operation where that's going to crash the entire market, you're going to lose quite a bit of money for a very long time, and you're going to be stuck with that. Or you can sell them at 4 cents and kind of just move forward with your life, which I don't suggest doing. But let me know what you guys think. Those are some of my tips with CSGO case investing anyway. Of course, I explained what I was investing in, what I have invested in cases this year, and of course, why I wouldn't recommend doing any of that right now. But really, if you're going for the long term, it's not that big of a deal. Let me know what you guys think. Peace out.